This is Joy News Desk with me, Sweetie Abochi. Let's get right into the headlines. Ghana Police Service rejects claims that a pregnant woman was part of arrested stopgalamseynow protesters. We've got details, plus we'll speak to some stakeholders on this issue. We'll also be in Kumasi for the hashtag Defend Media Freedom GH. The Adum brands of the multimedia group are having the Northern Sector conversation this morning, and we'll bring you up to date on that as well. We've got business updates in this 1 hour package. You want to stay with us for details. Many thanks for your time here on Joy News Desk. Let's start with our first story. The Ghana Police Service has rejected claims that a pregnant woman was part of the 52 Democracy Hub demonstrators remanded for 2 weeks. Gloria Vera Louise was reportedly said to be 4 months pregnant at the time of her arrest and subsequent 2 week remand. The police, however, say that medical examinations conducted at independent health facilities confirmed that Gloria is not pregnant. Let me run you through the statement by the Ghana Police Service, and it reads, on the 21st of September 2024, the demonstrators unlawfully assembled at the 37 intersection and engaged in the following acts, among others, which caused extreme inconvenience to the general public, particularly the motoring public. The statement goes on to say that the demonstrators blocked the intersection in all directions with vehicles, stones and logs, causing massive vehicular traffic across the city, setting fire in the intersection, harassing and attacking road users, including military and police officers, abusing police and military officers. And these are the issues that came up, for which reason those people were remanded, banging on vehicles, playing football in the road, and causing unlawful damage. Now, the statement continues to say, in the midst of all these provocations, the Ghana Police Service did not use any force against anyone. In all, 52 persons were arrested, and all of them have been put before the court in line with the due processes of the law. The case is being prosecuted by the Office of the Attorney General. Now, following the arrest, the attention of the Ghana Police Service has been drawn to the report, or to some reports, suggesting that a 12-year-old child, a 68-year-old woman, and a pregnant woman were among those arrested and detained. We, that is the police service, would like to categorically state that all these are false. We therefore urge the public to disregard these reports and treat them with the contempt they deserve. In the case of the 12-year-old child and the 68-year-old woman, in the course of the arrest, police realized that one of the suspects, Grace Asantewa, a 50-year-old woman who is being reported as a 68-year-old woman, had a child with her. In order not to separate the child from the woman, the child was allowed to accompany her to the police station. At the police station, police provided the child with food, and for the sake of the child, her guardian, Grace Asantewa, was granted a police inquiry bail and allowed to go home with the child. In furtherance of the statement, the statement continues to say the Ghana Police Service has charged Grace Asantewa with the offense of exposing a child to danger by bringing her to the demonstration grounds, contrary to Section 71 of the Criminal Offences Act 1960, Act 29. Now, they would like to use the opportunity to advise members of the public to be mindful of involving our beloved children in activities that have the potential to expose them to danger. And that's the statement from the Ghana Police Service. In the case of the alleged pregnant woman, Gloria Vera Louise, we would like to clarify that at the time of the arrest, there was no visible indication that she was pregnant. Additionally, at no point during the arrest or subsequent interactions did she say or did the said suspect inform the police of a pregnancy. Again, there was no communication to the court of any such condition, either by herself or through her lawyers. And that's about it for the statement released by the Ghana Police Service on the arrest of the Stop Galamseynow protesters, those who have been remanded and those who have been granted bail. But let's expand on this conversation further. I've been joined by Nelson Amedowonu, who is a member of the legal team for the protesters. We'll also be joined by Daro Bosu. He's Deputy Director for Arocha Ghana, and they're both joining us on Zoom. Gentlemen, let's get into this conversation. Now, the police are saying that there was no indication that this woman was pregnant. She didn't say to the police. Medical reports didn't say that. Her lawyers didn't even say that. So where is the issue of pregnancy coming from? And this is to you, Nelson Amedowonu. You are a member of the legal team for the protesters. When did you get to know that this woman was pregnant?
Good morning, and thanks for having me. We got to know that the woman was pregnant after the proceedings, because, mind you, the police did not give us adequate time to have conference with our clients. As at now, we don't even know the station at which they are keeping the lady. So we got to know just after the proceedings that this woman is four months pregnant. So we are going through the proceedings to make sure that we get back to the court for the court to vary her bail conditions.
Nelson, how did you get to know that she was pregnant? How did you get that information?
We got the information after the proceedings when the lady approached me that she is pregnant. And I'm like, wow.
So she told you herself that she was pregnant?
That is so. Yes.
And have you... Okay, finish your trail of thoughts.
Yes, and at that time, the ink of the judge has dried, so there is no way we can go back to the court for the court to vary her bail condition.
But does it make reasonable sense that the police did not know that she was pregnant, so to take caution with how she will be handled differently from the remaining people who were also arrested?
I've been reliably informed by her that she informed the policemen that she is pregnant. So they are aware, before coming to the court, they are aware that she is pregnant.
We just went through that police statement that the Ghana Police Service put out, and they're saying that medical reports do not point to a pregnancy.
Do you believe a police who comes to court to say that they've been providing their inmates with papaya, food from papaya? Because we all know that they've not been providing them with food from papaya, not even water. So do you believe such a police service, or you believe the lawyer or the lady herself?
Are you saying that the police lied?
That is so.
Hold on for me. Let me move on to our friend from Arocha, Ghana. Thank you so much for joining the conversation, Daro Bosu. You are Deputy Director of Arocha, Ghana. You've been following this for a while now. What is your assessment of the situation? Give me your initial thoughts of this ongoing brouhaha, so to speak.
Well, thank you very much for having me. I think, yes, we have been very much concerned about the manner in which the police have handled the protesters. As far as we are concerned, these are people who were out there on the streets with a legitimate concern. We know how Galamsey is devastating our rivers, it's devastating our land, and even causing a lot of social unrest in a lot of the communities where this is happening. And we have all been looking for an opportunity to get our voices heard. A lot of the discourse and dialogue has been going on for several years now, and we are not seeing a headway. So I think several strategies that civil society can deploy should be tolerated and should be encouraged. And these are also within the rights that they are granted within the Constitution. So I believe that no matter whatever happened on the ground, we are of the firm belief that the police treatment of the protesters was too high-handed and too brute. And you wonder how come we are not seeing an equal measure of interest and concern for the illegal activities going on in the area. And practically, if you go down to the ground, if you even report about illegal mining activities going on behind your house or even destroying your river, the police just sit down and they don't care. So it is very sad to hear that for protesters who went out there to express their concern about an environmental crisis, they were given this very harsh treatment.
So your issue is with the treatment that these protesters receive from the police. How about the other side of the coin? How about the way some of these protesters treated the police who were there for their own safety?
I think we need to, take all of that in perspective. You can never compare the power and force of the police to the power that the citizens brought, even if you say they engage in excesses. And that is why we're saying that, look, in this case, there is no justification why the police should exercise such brute force over the citizens and the protesters. It was very clear. No matter what you think they could have done, these are people who came not armed, they came to demonstrate. And we all know how right from the beginning, the whole protest and demonstration was instigated, or I would say intimidated right from the beginning. So you expect some tension, but that should not lead to the kind of treatment. It's about time we respect the civic spaces of citizens expressing concern concerning environmental issues. And I think that we've had much worse situations than this, and the police will have handled this issue much better.
Daryl, I'm sure you've seen the statements from the police. They say emphatically that they did not use any more than necessary force on these civilians who were protesting. And the videos that are circulating, hold a second, the videos that are circulating that we've seen, you see that it was actually citizens trying to instigate violence and hitting policemen. Have you cited any video where a policeman was beating or using force against a civilian or protester? Did you see anything like that? Even during the time that about 4 or 5 of them surrounded an individual during the arrest, the police were not the ones, beating or using force against them. So what exactly are we inferring police brutality from in this case?
I was saying that you need to put everything. I am not going into the details of what the police did, what the citizens did. I'm talking about the tolerance we allow for some of these expressions of civil dissent to be expressed out there. And that is what I'm talking about. I have seen several videos, there's been several angles to it. I am not going to speak to those details, but I'm talking about the tolerance to which, as a state, we allow citizens to express dissent where they need be. We've been talking about this issue about Galamsey for many, many years now. Communities are aggrieved, many people are aggrieved. If there's an opportunity for citizens to express that without any intimidation, we should let them go ahead. And I think that if that process has been really supported right from the beginning, it would have been peaceful and would have been where we are now. So I believe that we should take the whole aspect of the protest, the beginning, the intimidation, where it led to beginning on a very quiet note and then eventually ending the way it did. It's all something we should take into perspective. It's not just about one single act of a demonstrator here and there, and then we tend to really say that, look, we should round everybody up and treat them the way we have seen being meted out to them. So this is what I am talking about.
Please hold for me. Let me usher in Roxy Nelson Dapiamakpo, who is Member of Parliament for South Dai and also a member of Parliament's Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee. It's a pleasure to have you on Joy News Desk, sir. Now, it appears there are 3 parties on this situation. We have the police, we have the citizens and protesters, and we have the CSOs who are adding their voice to condemn the police way of handling the situation at that protest, the 3rd day of that protest. Before we get into the conversation surgically, what is your argument?
My argument is that you as journalists are not with the people. That's my first argument.
How so?
My second argument is that the police are protected by our money. You and I, the taxes that we pay. You saw the police from head to toe. They were properly apparelled. They had a bulletproof. In addition to wearing bulletproof, they had masks. In addition to a mask, they had helmets. In addition to helmets, they had batons. In addition to batons, they had shields. And above all, they were wearing boots. You saw ordinary citizens of this country. Some were in just slippers. Some were in simple sportswear. some were insulted. So if you want to fix the sheer defenseless nature of how the ordinary citizens fall onto the streets to demonstrate their grievances, their frustrations against the duty imposed on the police by law to prevent the occurrence of galamsey. You must understand that the people who are on the street are actually demonstrating against the inactivity of the police.
Yes.
Because you and I are supposed, hold on. You and I are supposed to be protected by the police. Those are the powers they have. They are also supposed to protect our environment from being degraded. That is why they have what we call police power. The police power is not only to stop demonstrators from being violent or from being destructive of state security. It extends to preventing people from destroying our biome and our environment.
Mr. Devamapo, your argument suggests that the police are supposed to be on our side as citizens, but we all, whether in government or as a mere citizen, we are all people in this country who depend on the police to keep us safe. Now, there's been series of demonstrations. Hold on a second. Let me make my point so you get what I'm saying. There have been series of demonstrations.
You asked me a question.
I have not landed on my question yet. Just hold on for me a second. Just a second. There have been series of demonstrations. The recent one we saw, the NDC's demonstration against the Electoral Commission. And we didn't see police brutality. There was an isolated incident in Kumasi, however. There have been so many instances, or the argument of if the people, the demonstrators, had done it by the book, not gone to places where the police said not to go to, not started instigating violence. I'm saying all this not to say that the importance of this demonstration against illegal mining is lost on us. It's not lost on us. But if they did everything by the book, would we be here today?
Now, you know that public activities such as they cannot always go by the book, you know. So we are supposed to be a tolerant democracy, especially when the police are properly apparelled and weaponized to be able to protect people from being wayward. It is the police who must show higher levels of tolerance. When you see a group of ordinary Ghanaians being, as a way of expressing their grievances, if they lift a log by the roadside onto the road, I mean, that is that. I expected a big fact. It's a very comical thing. It's that. And that would have ended. But you know what?
Oh, unfortunately, your line is breaking up. Let me go to Daryl, and I'll just circle back to you in a bit. Daryl, now Amnesty International is calling for an immediate review of the Public Order Act of 1994. How does this sit with you? And I'll go back to Mr. Roxy Nelson Dafemakpo. Do we still have Daryl with us?
Yes, I'm here. So, and let me say this. I think, yes, the Public Order Act is very clear in you notifying the police. But I also say that where the police indicate to you where you must go and where you must not go, yes, that is fine. But you see, when you want to do a demonstration, the whole idea is to get to the ears and eyes of people who are in office. When they restrict you from getting to those people, then what is the essence of a demonstration? So I think that those liberties need to be properly looked at and ensure that civil rights, such as demonstrations, can be exercised without any limitations. And when I say limitations, I'm not saying that it means people should engage in illegal activities, but rather limitations that stop people from really getting to the officers they really want to reach out to. If I want to get to the ears of the Minerals Commission, the Office of the Minerals Commission, you tell me that you can't demonstrate on the road to the Minerals Commission, but you can demonstrate around LWAC and all of that. Then what is the essence of my demonstration? So I think that all those issues need to be considered, and we need to have a more tolerant and respectful view in respect of how civil societies can exercise their right to some of these civil liberties granted by the Constitution.
Right. Mr. Dafemekpo, I don't know if you're back with us online, and hopefully we'll hear you clearly this time. So Amnesty International's call for an immediate review of the Public Order Act of 1994, which they argue grants excessive power to the security forces. Do you believe Parliament will consider this before the year ends?
Yes, I've spoken to two of my colleagues who also align with this thinking. So I'm sure that when we recall sometime after the 8th or the 12th of October to Parliament, we'll quickly initiate some amendments to the Public Order Act by way of private members' bill, so that we can tune some of the executive powers that is inherent in the police as well as the president in particular of this matter. Then number two, it affects some of our judges, and I use my words carefully. Some of our judges have become regime supporting, right suppressing, and freedom denying in matters such as this. Because how does remanding a person in custody for 2 weeks prevent other people from expressing their views on this? Indeed,
Right.
Indeed, evidence has been led that some of the people who have been arrested have parents who are serving police officers. So how does the court say, how does the prosecutor tell the court that if you allow the people to go home, they will not be allowed to attend court to defend themselves in matters that they don't understand? So our judiciary should be listening to be taking the mood of the country in some of the decisions that they make. Because the whole approval about this matter is about the denial of bail. I don't think you and I will be holding this discussion if the people were granted to bail and asked to return to court in 2 weeks' time. Nobody would have raised the nation. I wouldn't have spoken, frankly, Kujo would have spoken, because they've been granted their freedom in the interim. But to deny them the freedom to even have access to medical attention is what has shocked the conscience of the people. So the judiciary should, with all due respect, should listen to the mood of the people when they reach some of these.
All right.
And that's my point on the matter.
Mr. Dafemekpo, you have very boldly condemned the police and their actions on that day. You have condemned the court processes, or the, remanding some of these the protesters who were arrested on the day. You've what's the word again? You have condemned them, the denial of bail, so that investigations can go on. Are you in any way denying the actions of those protesters who, and I can cite this man, Baka Vomawo, he demobilized a police vehicle, the other gentleman who was hitting the policeman. Are you in any way condemning those specific actions as well? Right before I let you go.
Those are specific instances of some excesses. But the police should accept the fact that they have failed the nation in protecting our environment from being degraded by what the new phrase...
Mr. Dafemekpo, the point has been made. You have condemned the police and the court processes. I'm asking if you're condemning the actions that actually resulted in this situation escalating to this point.
Why? That is why they are being prosecuted, my dear.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Roxy Nelson Dafemekpo. Let me circle back to Nelson Amedonu. Nelson is the member of the legal team for the protesters. Just yesterday or 2 days ago, we listened to the Deputy Attorney General. There were calls that the legal processes be halted so that all those who were arrested be released. And he says that's a decision to be left to the court. How do you respond to this? Mr. Amedonu, you have to unmute so we hear you.
It's in order, because from all indication, you can see that this is purely persecution. And the protesters have done nothing. Even from what you were saying that Oliver demobilized the police band, I don't think that was what exactly happened. What happened was that he tried to prevent the police from their unlawful acts. Because as a citizen, even if a policeman tries to do something unlawful, that does not mean that you just watch on for the policeman to do it. So for him to prevent the police from doing something unlawful, I think citizens such as Oliver should be applauded for that, and not be prosecuted for what? Prosecution for what? It's totally uncalled for.
It appears we've lost that connection as well. But thank you, gentlemen. We had for this conversation Roxy Nelson Dapemekpo, who is member of Parliament for South Dai, and also a member of the Parliament's Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee. We were also joined by Nelson Amadawonu, who is member of the legal team for the protesters, and Darrell Bosu, Deputy Director for Arocha Ghana, helping us put this matter into perspective. Moving on, the media is key to the development of every country. The Sustainable Development Goals urge all countries to promote strong institutions, but that has not been entirely the case in Ghana. Here at the Multimedia Group, we are working to defend media freedom using the hashtag #DefendMediaFreedomGH. In Kumasi right now, Adum TV, Adum FM, Asempa FM, and Inshura FM are holding a town hall meeting on media freedom. Let's take you there live.
NDC as a political party, for the first time, you could hear your bar say, you're running me. Journalists be now home, I want to me, but now and him can say, Mammy Jane Men's Professor Nana Jane, I could your professor. Who shed a new one was a babe for. Who can say no an hour? You see, journalists as a journalist, Mammy, apart from Bibiano, or your pennies obeying ye. Chama won to me, mammy. Apart from all your bar, what's young mama? One Kasai, no, men condemn him, because not journalist, no, or interview wound to me, no, or you compromise that on your alive to responsibilities, no, or man who has asked them, no. So be mammy or your professor. That is the first point. The second point, so be calm. You are trying to play a victim. Two. And some people honor central for a cane no cry. Obi, you know, say in the law of defamation, truth in an absolute defense in a suit against defamation. And this no cressa wound to me a galamsey, not journalist be cocan. Onguni hufin. And this MPP minister
to say no creno, the journalist might not be able to.
No, it is MPP minister at the craft ababonte say wound to me a galamsey. Not journalist cocan.
Galamsey, they are one organizer.
Allow me, let me flow.
Jabari na ye galamsey. Ayemu, Miminya galamsey. Aye Jabari na ye galamsey. Kwakubu ahina ye galamsey.
I'll come back to you.
Kwakubu ahina ye galamsey. Miminya galamsey. Aye kwakubu ahina. Kwakubu ahina na ye galamsey. Ani Jabari na ye galamsey.
Let me talk about
minimum size. Miminya galamsey.
I'll come back to you.
Obi, what can't send me about Menshia? Once I sante.
I will come back to you. Hold on.
No, Obi. Mama won't to make us 12 minutes. Allow me to make this point.
Time. Wait. Yeah, what do I have for? The enemy person be boosted said clearly media content about issue.
Yes.
Professionalism of journalists on air abaye issue. What can the NMC?
I don't know what you're kind of woman me one answer chairman because chairman Kasa Wakasevi.
Yeah, let me make my regulator of media content. What can the NMC do?
Okay. I say at the or say a Genesis Ghana ho and some NDC ne NPP ever. NDC ne NPP a new for and saying Ghana for. Into say yes I a general man who o my young near be more man corner name. I send the member NPP I can say and NDC I can do. If you say at the end of the day, no, me call petrol stations and me call petrol. There are one I Jimmy no. Me family party at the end of the Asan Omobu.
We will take you back live there in a bit when we have more information for you. Now, away from that, researchers at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology have found the presence of chalk and methanol yellow, an unapproved food colorant in powdered turmeric products sold on markets in the Greater Accra region. A recent study by the Biochemistry and Biotechnology Department detected food adulterants in all samples sourced from 10 markets in the metropolis. The long-term adverse effects of these chemicals pose harmful health risks to humans, including liver cancer and cardiovascular disorders. Emmanuel Bright-Kweku of our science desk spoke with the lead researcher who is admonishing the Food and Drugs Authority to enhance market surveillance for public safety.
Turmeric powder is a common local spice, food preservative and colorant used in many Ghanaian households for various culinary and medicinal purposes. Curcumin, the major active component of turmeric, gives the root plant its prominent yellowish coloration, nutritional and medicinal benefits. But a zest to increase the quantity and coloration of the powdered product has seen vendors adulterate the local spice. Associate Professor of Biochemistry, Professor Christopher Labi, led a team of scientists to uncover the trend on the local markets in Accra.
We sampled 20 turmeric samples, or sold, let me take the turmeric powder, sold on the Accra market. So we sampled from Abobloshi, Malata, you know the usual market, the common market of Accra. With regards to the adulterants, we found chalk and a compound called methylene yellow, which is an azo dye, not approved for use in foods. But we found them in our samples on the market. And let me understand, I try to understand why they do that. When you add chalk to it, it increases the volume. And when you add the dye to it, it marks the color of the chalk.
20 turmeric powder products were sampled from the markets and all found to have reduced amounts of vitamins and other essential nutrients.
With increasing level of adulteration, the levels of these B vitamins and vitamin C decreases. With respect to the pure compound curcumin that we are interested in, adulteration led to a decrease of 72% in the levels of these curcumin. That is the pure compound.
The contaminants are reported to have harmful effects on the brain, liver, and other organs.
And it is toxic on the liver, on the brain, and on the reproductive system. So it has negative effect on noradrenaline, which is one of our stress hormones, on dopamine, which is also very important neurotransmitter, and serotonin. And these activities were all reduced in animals that were exposed to chronic levels of methylene yellow.
While the scientists advise regular and periodic food surveillance, here is how you can identify an adulterated turmeric powder.
As a consumer, what you can use to identify this is that when you add chalk to water, it doesn't easily dissolve. It takes some time before it dissolves. So when you add your turmeric that you have bought from the market to water, and you have to stir a long time before it dissolves, it should ring a bell for the entire country.
For Joy News, my name is Emmanuel Bright-Kweku.
Now let's take you back to Kumasi, where Martha Kwenshola-Akwa, the acting head of news and current affairs of the Adom brand, is, and she has some highlights for us.
Hello.
Hi, Martha. Thank you so much for joining the conversation. How's the events going? Right before we went off, we saw that the chairman for NPP, Wontumi, was answering questions on Galamsey. Tell us, what's happening?
It is very heated at the moment, and we are hoping we could calm nerves because it is getting a bit difficult to control. You know, we have Chairman Wontumi there, who is insisting that sometimes journalists call for what comes to them, and other times they are paid to do the work. And you know, we have this political party, the two main political parties represented, because we wanted them to make a pledge that they are going to protect journalists, even as we enter the peak of the campaign season. And unfortunately, it's become a banter between the NPP and the NDC, each one pointing accusing fingers at the other over who is not doing right. Now, the chairperson of the National Media Commission, as he put it rightly, Mr. Yabwede, he said, look, I can decide to mediate this and talk, but at the end of the day, one will fall, the other will come up. And I don't think any other person will be happy with me And so it's been a banter back and forth. So on the panel, we have Dr. Daniel Nkrumah, who is a lecturer, and he had practiced before. In fact, I worked with him 20 years ago at Graphic. And he's trying to talk about how we need institutions, especially when it comes to abuse of journalists and who should handle them. So if you look at the Lateef Idris case, the trial is not going as fast as we expect. And so if you're waiting, in his words, if you're waiting for the police to punish its own, you may never get a resolution to the issue. So why not have an institution independent of the media, independent of the police? So we know we have picks, but we can't trust that we'll get a resolution when a journalist is attacked. So he is pushing that aside having the institution, we can also do civil cases against those who abuse the media. And it will take time for us to warm up to it, for people to understand that if you abuse the media, you could be sued, and you have a cost, damages to pay for. Maybe we'll not get it at the beginning, but progressively, people will know that part, and people will chat more of that part. So it's quite heated in there, so I had to come out to do this call.
Well, thank you for stepping out. But right before I let you go back in to follow the conversation going on in there, I know that on forums like this, many issues come up. You just mentioned the Chairman Wontumi of the Ashanti region talking about he not involving himself in Galamsey. What other key issues have come to light of national interest that you'd like to bring to our attention?
So when it comes to the passage of the RTI, you have the NPP claiming it, that the document has been lying dormant before Parliament for so long, and they have been able to pass it, meaning they have the willpower to ensure that journalists do their work and do it well without any harm. But then you have the other ones giving you details of how many journalists have been attacked under each party. And it makes it difficult for you to see who is actually fighting it. Because if it is the NPP fighting it and it's giving you achievement, then this is also saying the same thing. But the National Media Commission and the communications lecturer are giving you perspectives on how to ensure that journalists do their work, because we have impact that we make with the work we do also. It is not so much about the stories you tell, but sometimes, look, how many times hasn't Joy News, Adom News, done stories about people who need help and had nowhere else to turn to, back to the media, and they got the solution to the problem. How many times haven't you heard? Look at the stories that you've done with equipping schools. So they need infrastructure for children who lie on their belly to write, and you raise funds, or you direct people to go to the schools to go and provide furniture for them. That is an impact story. When Seth Kwame Boateng did the crashed young, he went on a Kosi saying, Obi said, this is a touching story. I want us to do something about it. To cut a long story short, we were able to mobilize and build a 3-bedroom house for the victim of that accident, who was then an 11-year-old, now 13, with his family, because they lived in very deplorable conditions. So we are trying to highlight the impact of the media and the need to keep them safe. No, you can say that someone or one among the thousands had done something wrong. But truth is, it's better to allow the journalist to talk than to silence the journalist.
In fact,
because we do more.
Thank you so much. That's a lot to contemplate. Thank you so much, Martha Crenshaw. We'll allow you to go back into the room there where it's heated and follow the conversation. Martha is the acting head of news and current affairs for the Adom brands. Many thanks. Right, let's take a short break. We'll return with more on News Desk.
Good morning and welcome to the business segment on Joy News Desk with me, Pius Kojobaka. The Monetary Policy Committee of the Bank of Ghana is set to announce a new policy rate later this morning. Well, this was after it began meeting on Monday to review developments in the economy The policy rate currently stands at 29%, and some market watchers and economists are pushing for a marginal review of the rate. We can take a listen to Managing Director of GCB Bank, Kofi Adomako.
Interest rates, we hope we see a drop. We've seen what the Fed has done. Does it affect us directly? Maybe no, but ultimately it does affect us the way things go. So the other banks, we are hoping interest rates will come down. We hope the Fed, we hope the MPC will drop interest rates. Inflation pressures are also seem to be reducing, and so we think we are getting into good space. And then if interest rates do come down, look, it's good for we the banks. Okay, I have so many customers I cannot bank today because interest rates are too high. Okay, but I'll be able to extend into that. I do believe that inflation will continue to come down towards the end of the year and into 2025. We'll see a much more stronger reduction in inflation, and therefore interest rates will also follow. I'm very confident that post 2024, going 2025, 26, I'm very confident that we will come back fully on track.
And that's it for business. Back to you, sweetie.
Pius, thank you for bringing us those business updates on News Desk. And that's how we're wrapping up for the bulletin. Thank you so much for watching. But for more news, log on to myjoyonline.com for your reading pleasure and to keep you updated. My name is Sweetie Abochi. Many thanks for your time.